just as the small fringe minority predicted. World leaders like Justin Trudeau, after 2.5 years of mandating, coercing, and demonizing unvaccinated Canadians to get the shot, are now telling us they never forced us to do anything. Everything we did, it was our own choice. Despite holding our God-given rights and freedoms over our heads until they decided enough of us had received 2 doses of the vaccine, everything we did, it was our own choice, right? Despite premiers giving themselves the moral authority to shut down churches, arrest pastors, and impose curfews on Canadians, they never forced us to do anything. Yep, we're still being gaslit by our government. And surprise, surprise, this guy is leading the charge. Drop a like in the video, help us out by subscribing to the True North YouTube channel, stick around for the ratio of the week, and the comment question for the episode is this: do you believe in granting amnesty to government leaders and health bureaucrats who made decisions during the pandemic? Let me know, and let's get into it. Well, after 2.5 years of aggressively dividing the Canadian population, of demonizing the unvaccinated as racist misogynists, and mandating the shot for pretty much any aspect of normal life, Trudeau is now telling Canadians he never forced anyone to get vaccinated. Just watch as Trudeau gaslights and insults you with a straight face.
And therefore, while not forcing anyone to get vaccinated, I chose to make sure that all the incentives and all the protections were there to encourage Canadians to get vaccinated. And that's exactly what they did. We got vaccinated to a higher level than just about any other of our peer countries. And that's why we had a less deadly pandemic than most other countries.
Interesting, because 15 months ago, Trudeau told reporters that mandating the vaccine was the only way to avoid further restrictions. You don't like restrictions on your freedoms? Too bad, take the shot, that's the only way out.
I can understand frustrations with mandates, but mandates are the way to avoid further restrictions or having to be restricted. As people get vaccinated, as Canadians have gotten vaccinated, we've been able to get through things. And this team is going to stay focused on doing exactly that.
He never forced you to take the vaccine, but if you wanted to get in a plane to attend your father's funeral, you had to show your papers. If you wanted to fly across the country to walk your daughter down the aisle at her wedding, show me your papers.
If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. But don't think you can get on a plane or a train besides vaccinated people and put them at risk.
Justin Trudeau, he only fired all public servants who refused to take the shot. He didn't force you to do it, though. He just fired you from working for the government.
Proof of vaccination will be required by no later than the end of this month for all federal employees. And by mid-November, enforcement measures in place will make sure that everyone is vaccinated.
They didn't force anyone, but if you're a nurse, a cop, a firefighter, a paramedic, or any other frontline hero that literally kept this country together, well, if you didn't take the shot, you didn't have a job. If you were a member of the military with the bravery to put your life on the line for service to this nation, and you didn't take the shot, you didn't have a job. You're a trucker who's responsible for keeping everyone fed, and you didn't take the shot? Too bad, you don't have a job anymore. They didn't force us to do anything. They were only spying on 33 million cell phones, making sure that we followed orders and obeyed lockdown measures. Speaking of the military, they didn't force anything on us. They only conducted psyops and propaganda to try and convince us to get vaccinated, to follow government orders. That wasn't forcing us, though. It was just a gentle reminder, a gentle push, right? It wasn't through force, but it might have been through constant demonization, calling Canadians racists, misogynists, tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracy theorists, and saying that they take up space.
Qui croient pas dans la science, qui sont souvent misogynes, souvent racistes aussi. C'est un petit groupe, mais qui prend de la place.
If it wasn't the Prime Minister forcing us, maybe it was the premiers. They decided as elected Canadian leaders that they had the moral authority to unleash the unchecked power of the state against Christian pastors. Jason Kenney became a natural at this. By the end of the pandemic, he was quite skilled at quickly shutting down churches and throwing freedom-loving pastors into the back of cop cars.
Any avenues for you guys to question orders, or do you always that have told us, that have told me privately?
Let me know if it gets too hot or whatever, they'll roll them.
Bye, Daddy!
In in Quebec, the premier decided that he had the ability to force congregants to show their papers in order to access a church service. But even that wasn't enough to satisfy Francois Legault's insatiable thirst for tyranny. He decided to impose a lockdown curfew on the entire province of Quebec and even temporarily flirted with the idea of taxing the unvaccinated. But you were never forced.
That's why I'm announcing that starting next Saturday, there'll be a curfew from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. during 4 weeks. So after 8 p.m., we won't be allowed to go out in streets except for work.
In Ontario, Doug Ford decided that as a condition to enjoy a nice night out with your wife at your favorite local restaurant, you would have to show your papers. For a few days, Doug Ford even ordered the police in Ontario to stop anyone they wanted for any reason if they were freely traveling in their own province.
After consulting with public health experts, we have made the deliberate decision to temporarily enhance police officers' authority for the duration of the stay-at-home order. Moving forward, police will have the authority to require any individual who is not in a place of residence to, first, provide their purpose for not being at home and provide their home address. Police will also have the authority to stop a vehicle to inquire about an individual's reason for leaving their residence. I cannot stress this enough. It is imperative that everyone limit their trips outside of the home to permitted purposes only, such as going to the grocery store or pharmacy, medical appointments, outdoor exercise, or for work that cannot be done remotely. We know that stay-at-home orders work.
But whatever our government leaders did, as Justin Trudeau is now telling us, they never forced us to do anything. They shut down schools, ruined millions of small businesses, destroyed our economy, and ripped part of growing up away from millions of Canadians that will never be given back. Despite everything you know to be true, these leaders are now telling us not to believe our lying eyes. Here we go, ratio of the week time. The winner this week is the one, the only, the king of the ratio, Omar Alghabra. For those that are new to the show, last year Omar Alghabra took home the Ratio of the Year prize. He is without a doubt the king of the ratio. He sets the pace for everyone else in Ottawa. But this tweet right here, I think this is the worst ratio we've ever seen on the show. 9,844 replies to only 1,526 likes. Violence against women is still prevalent in our society. Hope in Heels is an event that spreads awareness on violence against women while encouraging men and boys to be part of the solution. We wore their signature pink heels in support to this important cause. And as you can see, in what looks like some sort of humiliation ritual being put on by our enemies, Canadian MPs, including Conservatives, I'm afraid to say, are seen prancing around a committee room wearing pink high heels. Apparently, by prancing around in these pink high heels, these male Canadian MPs are solving violence against women and girls. But all I can see from this video is China using it as propaganda to show their people how pathetic and weak Canadian politicians are. Oh, you better be afraid of those Canadian politicians. Look at them walk around in their pink high heels. Parading in heels to stop violence against women will do just as much as putting a Ukrainian flag in your bio to stop the war. Do you understand how ridiculous you look? A supporter of the show tagged me and said, okay, this must be the largest ratio in Canadian history right here, and still going. What is the point? To feminize the men? It's awful to see this, and it certainly doesn't make me, as a woman, feel any safer. Communist struggle session. That is exactly the right way to put what we're looking at right here. The most embarrassing and pathetic thing maybe you'll see all month, maybe all year. It's something else. It really is something else. And the Conservatives got in on this too. Come on, guys, get your act together. All right, that's going to do it for us this week on the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Harrison Faulkner, and this is Ratioed.